Welcome to the Locked In Baseball Podcast. I'm William Locke. He is Luis Barranco. It is Sunday, May 31st. Another weekend of baseball is in the books. Luis, how's it going?
Hey, William, it's over. June is here. As if for some YouTubers, it's a big month, but June is here. June baseball has arrived. We're getting close to those dog days, William. How are you doing tonight?
Doing good. I feel free. I'm not going to lie. Yesterday was my last day of work. Going back to school in the fall, getting my MBA at Michigan. So I'm taking the summer off, and I got 2.5 months until I start. Just going to be watching baseball, enjoying the summer vibes in Chicago before we move. And yeah, it was another great weekend of baseball. So excited to talk about it with you here today.
Yeah, man. It's been a weekend. I myself didn't do anything this weekend. I'm still recovering from my weekend trip last weekend to Sacramento, which we'll talk more about the Sacramento stadium. I know, very weird series with the Yankees this weekend in Sacramento. That's what I feel. Other than that, watched a lot of baseball. We talk about Friday night. You know, we have it as one of our topics tonight, the walk-offs, in the sense that the one night I spend at home on a Friday night, it delivers. I'm literally trying to fall asleep, but everybody's in a walk-off. So I couldn't get to bed till around midnight because of how good the quality of baseball was on Friday night.
Yeah, it was a really fun night across the league. We'll get to that. We got the full rundown if you're watching on YouTube or Spotify video. Got the full rundown on the left-hand side, everything we're going to get into in this episode. Fernando Tatís finally homered. We're going to talk PCA. He had a really fun night on Saturday night, kind of going back and forth with the Cardinals fans a little bit and kind of shutting them up. We're going to talk about the White Sox and their fan base. They had a great weekend. And I have some takes, Cubs, Sox, some of the hitters and some of the numbers I was looking at. And I'm making some arguments there. We had an ABS glitch, which I thought was pretty interesting, something that can't happen later down the road. Misiorowski finished up an incredible month of May. We're going to talk MLB expansion. There was an interesting article by Bob Nightingale in USA Today this week. And we'll go around the horn and then talk about the NCAA tournament, which kicked off this weekend. And I got to say, I think it is one of my favorite weekends of sports across the whole year. It's elite. I think it's underrated, but we'll get into that a little bit more. Actually, UCLA right now, as we're recording this Sunday night, they're on the brink. So maybe that game will be resolved by the time we get there.
What's going on? I don't have that game on right now. I'm watching the Cardinals game. Cubs-Cardinals. I have a lot of Cardinal stocks right now.
5-5, bottom 10 elimination game. They're tied up with St. Mary's. So, and UCLA is the number one seed. They only lost I think 6, maybe 7 regular season games, but that is because they played in the Big Ten, which is not known for being a good baseball tournament. But we'll get to that later. Maybe this game will wrap up by the time we get there. Let's start it with Fernando Tatís Jr. Luis, here was maybe one of the highlights of the weekend. Fernando Tatís Jr. finally hits a home run. Here it is for you all to see.
I mean, what a relief for me on my fantasy team after spending what was it, like pick 10 draft capital? I was like, God, I knew he was due. Like, can we also talk about that was my next point. Can we just talk about the bat flip? How crazy the bat flip was? Like, that's like WBC-esque bat flip. Like, this is now I don't want to call it a meaningless game because all games matter, all 162 matter, but it is a 2-1 game, top of the 5th in Washington. Talk about a game that really isn't like a playoff game or a division game. This is the Washington Nationals versus the San Diego Padres, and he's bat flipping it like it's freaking against Israel in the WBC.
Yeah, you can see the relief on his face when he looks to the sky, hands in the air. 451 feet too. That's a great way to start your home run tally for the season. I was gonna bring it up on this episode again if he didn't homer because we'd be at June without Tatis hitting a home run, which would have been insane. Regardless, he had his first home run on May 30th, which is like 50-something games into the season for the Padres. Just truly, again, mind-boggling that drought, considering like all of the other players across all of Major League Baseball that hadn't homered. Nonetheless, we're happy for Fernando. Hopefully he turns it around. Maybe this starts kind of a slew of home runs. We'll see. Did not homer today, and actually the Nationals won the series 2 out of 3, winning 7. The Padres won 7-5 on Friday. Jackson Merrill had a clutch 2-run homer to win that one. But then Saturday, Nats won 9-4, and Sunday the Nats won 4-2. Another home run from James Wood in that game, up to 16 on the season for him, which is 15 more than Tatis. Luis, any thoughts on the series itself? I feel like the main takeaway was the Tatis home run, though.
No, yeah. I think the biggest thing is, look, this series is very interesting to me. I think we're finally seeing the San Diego Padres finally come back to their senses. I mean, I gave a lot of crap earlier on the podcast a couple months ago talking about the Nationals on how bad they were at Wrigley. And I mean, we'll talk about the Cubs here in the upcoming topic. But again, the Cubs were beating everybody in April, and the Nationals just did not look any like good at all. But once the weather heated up, I mean, the Nationals have been one of the biggest surprises on offense this season. I ended up doing a little bit of a deep dive this afternoon talking about how good the Nationals have been in the month of May. Currently, they rank third in WAR at 5.3, sixth in average, ninth in OVP, second in slug, and second in WRC plus. And that's in the month of May. James Wood is batting 311, 423 OBP, 534 slug, 171 WRC plus with a 1.2 WAR. I think between him, CJ Abrams, the Nationals have two really nice building blocks if they keep CJ Abrams. But I think we're going to have to start making some conversations about James Wood going into that MVP candidacy. I'm willing to start opening those discussions up just as a dark horse candidate, just because of how weak the NL MVP class is this year. Ohtani hasn't been doing Ohtani-esque things, and Skeens isn't skeensing as we expect. Out of the hitters you can think in the NL, there's not many guys that are really going out and going for it. You can put the Braves hitters, but I mean, James Wood deserves some recognition, and I wanted to bring that up right now with the Nationals. Just wanted to give some Nationals love. We never give love to these Nationals. We know it's going to be a tough year for y'all. They don't have that much pitching. I know they have a couple of bright spots, but I mean, they're a fun team to watch in the sense that they're going to put up runs.
Oh, 100%. I think they're the most fun team to watch in the league because of their ability to score runs, but they give up so many runs. I mean, they've allowed 323 and scored 324. They have a 1+1 run differential. They are 2 games over 500, so maybe they can keep this up. I did a deep dive the other day on the Instagram, so go give us a follow over there at Locked In Baseball Media, kind of deep diving the numbers. It really has been a lot of James Wood and CJ Abrams this year, but also you've had guys like Curtis Mead he's had a nice little season. Keibert Ruiz has had a nice little season. Jacob Young has like 7 or 8 home runs at this point. Dalen Lyle's been good for them. So it is a good offense. And if you look at like the expected numbers, expected batting average, slug, xWOBA, all that stuff, like they're not getting lucky. It does seem like this offense is legit. And I agree with you on Wood. I think he should be throwing his name into the MVP conversation. You still got to give it to Shohei because of the pitching and the hitting thing. Like, it's just going to be so hard to knock him off that pedestal. But can you guess among hitters in the National League, who is leading the National League in F4 and who's second?
Oh, I would probably be James Wood, probably.
He's not. He's like 5th.
Because I saw he was up in the top 10 for all of MLB in May.
Yeah, he's 8th on the season. The first guy is a Dodger.
Oh, a Dodger? Oh, it's probably going to be Pages.
Yeah, it's Pages. Yeah, he leads. Yeah. He's 3rd across the whole league in F4 this season. And then 2nd in the National League. You'll probably never guess.
Give me a hint.
Plays for a Florida team, which gives it away.
Florida team? Oh, probably Yandy Diaz.
Well, National League.
Oh, National League Florida team. So it's a Marlin. What? Liam Hicks?
Xavier Edwards.
Xavier Edwards. Remember, it's not Xavier Edwards. It's Xavier, which is kind of a thing that, like, that's one of the biggest things that they always pronounce because, it's Xavier. Because when you say the name Xavier, you don't want to say Xavier. No, his is Xavier Edwards. Like, that is a clear pronunciation how he wants it. So
I remember that was a sticking point. That was a sticking point when you went to Xavier for college, and we kept calling it Xavier, and you got annoyed. So fair enough.
Well, it's kind of like they force feed you that once you go there. But now I really just don't care, honestly. Go Xavier, go Nova, go Butler. Go all universities. I just want both teams to have fun and fairness to happen. No rig jobs, allegedly.
So that's Padres Nationals. Let's get into
before we move on from the Nationals. Like the Nationals are pretty interesting. It's just like we know they're not going anywhere, but they could be a team that in 2 years we look at, and they could be second in the NL East.
They're second in the NL East right now.
Yeah, but if you like firmly that we can both literally say like, oh, they could be like not a surprise. Like we were like, oh yeah, that they're better than the Phillies.
Yeah, because the Phillies are older. You know, guys like Harper, Schwarber be a couple years older at that point too. I still feel like their pitching is there. The Mets, who knows, they're going to spend money. The Nationals have taken steps in the right direction this year. It's undeniable. They just got to get the pitching right. That's a mess right now. And I like the staff. I like the Blake Butera, the new ownership, Paul Taboni, or not ownership, front office staff. Like they seem to be doing things right. And it was kind of heading into the season, I didn't know what to expect from them because they took such a young approach. You know, the front office and the coaching staff all super young, like in their 30s. And so far it's worked. I think they were like one of the more antiquated teams in terms of like analytics and the way they kind of approach spring training and some of those just the baseball science stuff. I guess they were outdated, and it seems like the stuff they've implemented this year has been working. They have been undoubtedly fun to watch.
Can we also talk about how younger manager hires have been working? Like, go look at San Diego. It's been working thus far. I know the numbers don't look great, but it's been working with there in San Diego. The Guardians are another example. That's been working really well for the Guards. Add the Nationals to that mix. Those are just three examples that I can think like right off the top of my head that you can see like the younger, like new generation of managers working in comparison of getting a guy like a Francona or one of the old retreads. And no offense to the retreads, the Dusty Bakers and Franconas, they had their day, but the younger guys, most of them have worked. The only one that, the jury is still out, which you and me could probably agree to that it hasn't worked and doesn't look promising, is San Francisco with Tony Vitello. Yeah,
we'll get into a deep dive with them a little bit later in the episode, but that is definitely one that is not working out so far. Still, I guess, early in the tenure, but yeah, not good. Francona, they did playoffs last year.
They did, but I'm just saying, like, managers back in the day used to be older guys. Not older guys, but guys with wealth of experience. So you haven't seen guys in their 30s and 40s and not many, like, young ex-players. Like, a lot of them have had to, like, work their way up. And, yeah, they have worked their way up, but we haven't seen, like, younger guys, like, right out of, their playing careers. Another guy I think about is Gabe Kapler, also was pretty successful in his Giants tenure. I know.
The one season.
But still, he won 100 games. How many people could say that? That's not a fluke.
I don't know. That season was pretty damn fluky, in my opinion.
The next thing I want to talk to is the Padres. What do you think about the Padres? I mean, I wanted to pull up some stats on the Padres tonight. They've been in May. They've been awful. I know they were one of the better teams in April, but I think we're regressing back to the mean. And they're kind of interesting to see, like, in the whole NL West mix, in the sense that I don't know where they stand with Arizona, and then you have San Diego and Colorado. San Francisco hasn't been good. Colorado's been better, but the NL is just kind of like topsy-turvy, and I don't know where San Diego fits in this mix. They're 27th in WAR at 0.9, 30th in average, 30th in OBP, 29th in slug. Jackson Merrill's hitting 195 with a 278 OBP, 72 WRC plus, and a 25.8 K rate. Manny Machado's only hitting 133, 209 OBP, 337 slug. All season, they have a run differential of -4, and they've gone 13 and 14 in the month of May. And so I'm just confused. Is like, okay, did I expect them to regress to the mean? 100%. But did I expect players like Machado, Merrill, and Tatis to take a little bit of that tick so the regression wasn't that great? Of course. But they're one of the league's worst hitting. And I know we know what they are. They're an incredible bullpen team.
And that's the question, is like, how long can you have the bullpen carry? Again, we've talked about it before, but you don't want to have your bullpen throwing or like carrying the team, and having to rely on the bullpen over the course of 162. That works in the playoffs because it's such a smaller sample size. And even then in the playoffs, your bullpen can get taxed because you're playing pretty much every day. But in the regular season where it's, you have those stretches where you're playing 15 straight days, you can't just rely on guys like Jeremiah Estrada, Jason Adam, Adrian Morejon, Mason Miller. Like, you can't throw those guys every single day. You have to have some type of production from the pitching staff. And, if you look at the starting pitching, they're 23rd in ERA as a staff. Bullpen is second in ERA. That's great, but that's not a recipe for success because you're just going to tax the bullpen. And that's why they're looking for bullpen help at the deadline. They're kind of going to allegedly double down on it, which I don't know how I feel about that as a strategy. I would rather you go out and try to get maybe a back end starter, which I guess that's what they did in Giolito when they signed him in April after the season started. But is a rotation of Michael King, Griffin Canning, Randy Vasquez, Walker Buehler, and Lucas Giolito, is that a playoff rotation? I don't know. The bats are going to have to step up at some point.
No, but that's what I'm saying. But I mean, we've seen the formula work. That doubling down on the bullpen work. We've seen that formula work. I think everybody's like, and we refer to that Kansas City formula, where Kansas City would get 5 innings out of it was and I can give you, it was Oliver Perez, Yordan Ventura, Johnny Cueto, and Jeremy Guthrie. And they had one more guy. I think it was Edison Volquez. That was their 5 guys. And they would get 5 innings from those guys, and boom. And we're not talking prime Johnny Cueto. We're talking like post Cincinnati Red Johnny Cueto. And
yeah, they're. Sorry, you pretty much nailed it. Edison Volquez, Giordano Ventura, Jeremy Guthrie, Danny Duffy, Chris Young, and Cueto were the guys that got starts for them that season.
Yeah, so I mean that's double down on the bullpen, which was like Cortland Finnegan, Joaquin Soria. Brandon Finnegan, yeah, I was thinking of the cornerback in the NFL, but it was Brandon Finnegan, Joaquin Soria. They also had another. They had another guy too.
The closer was Greg Holland. They had Kelvin Herrera, Wade Davis. Yeah,
Joaquin
Jason
Soria
Vargas.
wasn't on the team yet. Yep.
Correct.
That's what it was. But I mean, it's just like it's such an interesting strategy. But it's just like, where do you fit them in the NL? Like, I want to buy Arizona stock, but I don't know where Arizona is. But the more I see what I see out of Arizona, I'm like, okay, I want to buy more Arizona stock. I want to buy back into Philadelphia. And I'm obviously very high on these central teams. So where does San Diego mix into this?
It's tough. I've had issues trying to like power rank them because I think Atlanta's better. I still think Philly is better. Milwaukee, Cubs, maybe not Cubs. Cardinals, no. The Dodgers are obviously better. I don't know, like if the bats get going, which I don't know, maybe Nando is now going to hit, then all they have to do is be middle of the pack bats wise, and that completely changes my opinion of this team. But I don't know if they can get to that point.
Okay, let me ask you a question. What rotation are you taking, the Cubs or the Padres rotation?
God. I guess the Cubs, but it's really uninspiring. Ben Brown's been good for them.
And you're taking the Cubs lineup over the Padres lineup.
Yeah.
Okay, so there you go. So the Cubs. That's my issue. And then I put them in the Central. It's just like, if you were to put, because obviously this is how I'm going to power rank right now. Let's do this exercise right now. And this will be a perfect lead in talking to the Central, because we're going to talk about PCA next. If you were to put the classes of eliteness in BNL, you're going to put the Dodgers in a class on their own. And a tier below that, you're going to put Milwaukee, Philadelphia, and Atlanta, with Atlanta the leader of the pack.
Yeah, and I don't know if I would put Philly on the second tier. Philly might be on tier 3 still.
I think Philly graduates tier 3.
You could convince me, yeah.
And then the next grouping is Arizona and San Diego and the rest of the Central.
I think that's fair. And then bad teams.
But where do you fit San Diego in that grouping?
Tier 3.
No, but in that tier 3 grouping, that's what I'm saying. Where do you fit them? San Diego, Arizona, and then you have Chicago, Chicago 1 in there, and I'm not ranking them, but you have Chicago, Pittsburgh, and Cincinnati, and St. Louis.
They're better than
16 cluster.
I might put them behind Arizona, but I think they're better than the Central teams. Like, I know Pittsburgh has elite pitching. I don't know if I trust the bats. Connor Griffin just laid in on the injured list with a forearm injury. Cincinnati, I know they got Chase Burns, Hunter Green coming back at some point around the All-Star break. I don't know if I trust the bats. Ellie De La Cruz is getting his hamstring examined. He might be injured. Like, that would be a devastating loss for them. We just talked about the differences between the Cubs. The thing that I think puts Arizona ahead of San Diego is their starting pitching has been solid. They don't have Corbin Burns yet, and they have legit MVP candidate in Corbin Carroll, and Ketel Marte has been on fire in the month of May.
Yep.
I think I break Arizona ahead of San Diego. I know Arizona just got swept in Seattle, but that's probably how I'd rank it. You can't – not hitting at all is not a recipe for success over the course of 162.
That's just not a recipe in any baseball game. But my thing is, in this, I think you're just jaded. But we're gonna go back and forth between the Cubs and the Padres.
Yeah,
I would put money on the Cubs over the Padres.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, I know it's last year, but the Cubs did beat them in a wild card series last year. It's not worth anything for this year, but that is the latest kind of head-to-head we've seen in a meaningful setting.
And I don't think the Cardinals are that far behind from the Padres. They're right there. They're right. I think they might be in the same class.
Yeah, they could be.
The Cardinals have some voodoo magic going around in Busch Stadium this year. And let's just talk about it, William. Let's just talk about the PCA show. Let us talk about that series. I know there's 2 games going on there's a game right now going on, but the 2 games that they played out in Busch.
Yeah, so they're playing right now on Sunday Night Baseball, 2-0 St. Louis in the third as we speak. But on Friday, the Cardinals got the win 6-5. Shota gave up 3 homers. His ERA is up to 4.37, so he's really been struggling. And Ryan O'Brien picked up the save. But then on Saturday, the game was on Fox, and it was the PCA show. Cubs won the game 6-1. Another really good start from Brent Brown. 7 innings, 1 earned, 1.92 ERA on the season. He's been great for them. But PCA, 4 for 5 with a homer, a double, 2 RBIs, and made one of the best catches I've seen this season. I'll play the homer for you now because not only did he homer, but the fans in the Tarps Off section were chanting overrated. And then sure enough, he hits a home run into that section. Exactly. So I'll just listen to the chants and then I'll play the video.
Look at this. PCA hits it into the Tarps Off row. Take that for overrated.
I mean, electric. Wait, actually, sorry. I'm going to play that again. Did he do he did the towel.
Yeah, he did do the towel. Yeah.
He did the shirt. Okay, so first of all, the Tarps Off section looks great. I mean, they have a full couple sections of just dudes. That's the voodoo magic of Busch that you're talking about.
Ultras. They're the ultras, man. The Cardinals ultras, man. They're like PSG fans, man. Sorry, I know it may be too soon, but
too soon.
They're like PSG fans. For those of you that don't watch European soccer, Arsenal, we had ethical football yesterday, and PSG beat Arsenal and penalty kicks.
I should boot you from the studio right now.
It's like the equivalent of the Thunder getting eliminated last night. Like, we had ethical sports last night. What?
You're lucky I'm continuing.
It's true. What are you talking about? My whole point is PCA had himself a great, himself a great weekend.
I'm gonna play that. I'm gonna play the catch here too, because the catch was arguably more impressive than the home run.
He's up the bat right now too.
Oh my God. I was watching this live, and that catch right there on from Saturday on Jordan Walker, I think it was like a 5% StatCast probability to catch probability, whatever. That's why the Cubs pay him that much money. I mean, I saw the ball off the bat. I'm like, oh, that's a double in the gap. And he just comes flying out of nowhere, like flying out of the side, off the side of the screen, sliding catch makes it look easy. Like most center fielders that ball's hitting the fence. It's dropping in the gap, or they're laying out and missing it by a few feet. The fact that he got there, didn't even do a full extension dive, caught it pretty easily. That's why they're paying him the money. And, obviously he hit the home run on Saturday too. maybe he's turning things around at the plate. Even if he doesn't, like, this dude is a generational defender. I know he's had some weird incidents in the outfield this year with some of the errors, but I think a lot of that is more so mental than anything. He is an incredible defender. He's got to fix the mental side. Like, he does have those moments where he rages after striking out, does the bat spikes, and had the whole thing with the White Sox fan. Like, I know he's a very polarizing player. People either love him or hate him. I admire the defensive talent that he is. I'll say that.
You know who he just hit right now, and he just lined out to left field. You know who you reminded me of for a second? Not player wise, but just looking at like player build in a way.
Who's that?
Slimmer Josh Hamilton without the power. Like, not player type, but like looks wise. Like,
okay,
yeah,
maybe.
But I was just thinking, how many center fielders in the majors make that catch? Outfielders.
Him.
No,
Him.
I think there's a
That's
couple.
Denzel
Harrison
Clark.
Bader, that's one. Harrison Bader makes that catch.
Okay, Varsho.
No. Cody Bellinger makes that one.
In center? I don't.
Yeah. He plays the outfield really well. Like, he has good judgment. And I was gonna say Trent, but I can just imagine Trent Grisham's hamstring just falling completely off the bone, making the run over. I could just see Trent just like jogging, and it's just like, nope, yep, not doing that, and just nonchalantly pulling the cut off.
I don't think Trent's getting to that one.
Maybe Victor Scott gets to that. That's
it's a short list. I mean, PCA is next level. I don't have his outs above. Actually, I do have his outs above average in front of me. 12 right now. He's the best defensive player in the league statistically, metrics wise.
Yeah, well, he's crazy, but I mean, the Cubs need to sort themselves out. They just posted up a stat here. The Cubs started. They went 20-3 for a stretch, and then they went 5 for 15. They had that 10-game losing streak, and I mean, look, for the Cubs, man, they just need to get some pitching and get the bats to heat up. Again, the Cubs right now at night games, they play better than day games. 19-13 at night, 13-14 on the day. I just feel that the Cubs just need to get it together, because if they don't get together, St. Louis is right there. And I'm telling you, St. Louis has some voodoo magic. They're doing the right things. They play the game right every single night. They're finding a way to manufacture runs. I like their pen, which is crazy. I could wholeheartedly come on and give you the hot take that they have a top third pen in the majors right now. Between Riley O'Brien, Jojo Romero, Ryan Stanek, that like 7-8-9 or 8-9 right there is strong. It's stronger than many 8-9s that many teams have.
It's definitely better than what the Cubs are throwing out there in the pen. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Jordan Walker's also making a great case for him. Jordan Walker could be the starter out in the outfield for the NL this year easily. Talk about a guy. You got Ivan Herrera, who is just hitting the cover off the ball. JJ Weatherholt. I'm telling you, there's a lot of things to like about the Cardinals, and I don't understand why people aren't talking about the Cardinals night in and night out. They're playing competitive ball games. We understand that they lost the series against the Brewers this week, but yet again, that's the Brewers. The Brewers are in that like tier 2 class. And we look at that next tier of teams, you have the Cubs, the Cardinals, and the Padres, and the Cardinals have played very well against them all season. The Cardinals split that series against the Padres early on in the month, and then they also are playing right now the Cubs, where if they win tonight, the rubber match, that's a series win. And they could tonight, if they win, they can go up on top of the Cubs. They're only half a game back.
And I think when it's almost June, right? Like, at some point, a team is who they are, and the Cardinals might just be they're just a good team. And
I've been saying that. I've been saying that they're a good team. They play good ball.
And I think people need to stop acting like they're such a big surprise when they win these series. Will it last the whole season? I don't know. Like, Fangraph still gives them only a 23% chance of making the playoffs, but I think they can hover around 500, a little bit above 500 the whole season, win 80, 85-ish games and push for the third wild card. I kind of think that's their ceiling. And if you told me that in February, I would have said you're crazy. So it's been a huge success of a season for them.
They got some good ball players. And you know what the problem is with the Cardinals this year? Why nobody's giving them any love?
Why?
They don't have a household. They don't have a household name. They don't have anybody to write home about. When you look at every single Central team in the NL, they have a name to talk about. You know, for as bad as the Reds are right now, they have Ellie De La Cruz, and then some people know Hunter Green. The Cubs have PCA because PCA is played for Team USA. They have Alex Bregman, who a lot of people who know the game pretty well know Bregman pretty well, and they also have Dansby Swanson because every woman loves Dansby Swanson. Who does it? Pause. And so those are like a couple guys you bring forth. Pirates have Paul Skeens. With that, you don't need anything else. And who's left? The Brewers. I think everybody knows that the Brewers are a solid team. They have Yelich, and we just know that they're just a tier of excellence. So,
Misiorowski.
you know, now Misiorowski, but before the season. And they're a young team, man. The Cardinals are NBC's rolling the stat. 70% of their hits this season have come from players 25 or younger. You know, sometimes it's good to have that juice, that youthful juice.
Yeah, they're ahead of schedule, undoubtedly. And, you know, Weatherholt might win the Rookie of the Year. Jordan Walker, MVP candidate, all that stuff. They've been one of the surprises of the season. Let's talk about some of these walk-offs. On Friday, you mentioned it at the top, electric night of baseball, one of the best nights of baseball in a long, long time. We had 4 walk-off home runs on Friday night, tied for the second most in a single day ever, trailing only the 5 that were hit on May 28th, 2004. Kind of weird, actually, that it was nearly the exact same day. I had to look at the calendar. May 29th was Friday. Nonetheless, I'll roll the clip for you. We got 4 walk-offs. Here's the start.
Which one's your favorite?
That's a good question. Actually, I have a clear favorite. There's the Brian Reynolds one for the Pirates. By the way, I love those Pirates City Connect uniforms. Those are top tier. This was my favorite, the White Sox one. Miguel Vargas. Look at the crowd in the outfield going bonkers. I'll talk more about the Sox in a second.
I love the Sox this year.
And then we had MJ Melendez walk-off bomb.
Take that off the screen, please.
for the Mets. And then Tovar, who had a clutch home run in the 8th too, hit a clutch home run, obviously to win the game, the walk-off against the Giants to wrap up the evening of baseball. In all-time one, what you got, Luis?
Those Rockies uniforms are absolutely diabolical.
Should I put them up on the screen again?
No, dude, that is a diabolical.
Yeah, I don't love them. They look like a travel ball team. Yeah,
they look like Savannah Bananas uniforms, not going to lie, or something like they would be using in that league, whatever.
So actually, my take from Friday night, the Miguel Vargas walk-off on Friday, and then they had they won the series. They swept the series over the Tigers. They walk it off?
They won 2-1 today.
They won 2-1. So they had a great series.
Colson Montgomery hit a homer today. So
that's right. Clutch home run to tie it like the 7th or something like that. I'm watching the game on Friday. I'm like, the Sox, the crowd is back. Like, and I think from a national perspective, like people don't think of the White Sox as a Chicago team, really. Like it's the Cubs are bigger. They're a bigger brand. They're bigger nationally. Everyone knows the Cubs, Wrigley, etc. But the White Sox have a very, very good fan base, and I think people people underrate how good the Sox fan base is. And, you know, there was those conversations, the rumors about the Sox moving to Nashville a couple of years ago. You were looking at the attendance. There was no one there. They lost like 110 games, whatever it was. And I don't think it's fair to judge a fan base when their team's losing 110 games, worst 162 record ever. I don't think it's fair. Like, Sox fans are very prideful. They're very loyal. They represent the South Side of Chicago, like kind of have that underdog mentality, I feel like. And, you know, the crowds this weekend, like the Sox are back, and it's really exciting to see the fans show up and show out. The team is very exciting for the first time in a long, long time since I lived here. I moved here in 2022. Obviously, they've been pretty bad ever since then, but this is the first year that they've really been good. And I just think don't underestimate the Sox, the fan base. And, I was just an example. I know, it's maybe not the best example, but I was just in Europe for a couple of weeks. And, in these cities, we're walking around and I saw so many Sox hats. And I'm not saying these people are White Sox fans. They probably just bought the hat because they thought it looked cool. But I saw a ton of Sox hats. I didn't see any Cubs hats. And again, I still think the Cubs are a bigger brand nationally and globally. But, the Sox they have a good brand too. And it's cool to see the fans, that the fans finally be able to be excited about a team for the first time in a long time. And I think, that walk-off on Friday that's why it was my favorite, to see the rate packed on a Friday night, walk-off home run. People are they think the sky is the limit with this team. They think this team can sneak into the playoffs. So it's just been fun to watch this year.
Right now they're in the playoffs. Right now they would be in the playoffs. I looked at the projected playoff picture. Right now, the Yankees would play the 5 seed, and I don't know what the 5 seed is, but the Sox are the 6, and they would be playing the Mariners in the first round. And can you imagine the Sox getting to a Sox versus Guardians series? I could totally see a world, and my head might be on Pluto, but I can see a world that the Sox get to the ALCS this year.
I don't know if they have the pitching to get there, to be honest. But they are 3.5 back up of the third wild card right now.
You don't think they can beat the Guardians if it's as currently constructed? They would play the Guardians right now in the second round in the DS.
I think they could beat the Guardians, of course. That's kind of the team that everyone would have circled. That's who they want to play in the first round of the playoffs, wild card, whatever it may be. I still would pick the Guardians in that series. They have a much better pitching staff than the White Sox. But Davis Martin, game 1, you feel good about, right? So I don't know. The bad news for the Sox is Murakami did go to the injured list with a hamstring injury on Friday. He has been a huge component of their lineup this year. I don't think you can underestimate just how important he's been for them. And let's see how long the lineup can hold up without him. But they did finish May 17-10, which was obviously probably their best month in a long, long time.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing to talk about is how all those guys. I don't want to say what I want to say, but the Sox are the people's team of Chicago. They're the people's team of Chicago. They're the culture's team of Chicago.
They're the feel-good team for sure. Yeah, they're the underdogs.
Cubs give me country club vibes.
Oh yeah, yeah.
If you ain't a part of us, you can't. It's hard to get in. The White Sox they will everybody and it's fun. Those games look so much fun because I love it when the stands go soccer style, where the beer and everything starts going up in the air. You saw if you run it back, go run it back. Look at the outfield again. Run the clip back. Look at how the outfield goes crazy, and everybody's jumping up and down. It's actually an authentic reaction. People are going absolutely bonkers. You see, yep, right here. Look how everybody's jumping up and down like crazy. It is an absolute electric scene. Yep.
I think we got some tarps off in there too. Yeah, we got some tarps off.
Everybody's doing tarps off right now. I did hear it from a respectable source here down here is that tarps off will not be happening at Lone Depot. That they tried doing tarps out at Lone Depot and they kicked them out of the stadium.
Oh wow. Yeah. Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. So, but no. Good weekend. I enjoyed the walk-offs. My favorite, like I said, was Miguel Vargas. I was watching the game, and I texted you. I was like, yo, you got to tap into this game. And you're like, well, I'm going to go to bed. And
No. I said I'll catch up on them tomorrow through the highlights.
Yeah. And then 5 minutes later, the homer happens.
I was also watching the Yankees at that point. But let's talk.
The Yankees game had not started. It was 10:05 when you sent it. It was 10:10. It was the first inning of the Yankees game. It wasn't like something was going to happen. It was either they were going to lose the game right there in the next 5 minutes, or the Yankees were, or it was going to get walked off. So
I am also blacked out from watching Sox and Cubs games in Chicago because MLB.
That might change with the new labor agreements.
We'll see.
I have more Sox and Tigers takes. I'm dying. I'm chomping at the bit to talk about the game.
Let's do it.
So I mean, look, I had a couple questions for you. I watched a lot of them this weekend. The White Sox swept it 4-3, 7-1, and 2-1. I mean, look, sad news for the White Sox was that Murakami is going to be going to the IL for 4 to 6 weeks, but it seems like everybody on this team is picking it up. I mean, Miguel Vargas went from a -1 WAR player to a 2.2 WAR player 2 years later. This guy was hitting 104 and 157 plate appearances. Now he's 248 plate appearances, and he's a 2.2 WAR type of guy. Like, the dude has turned it around. He used to be a top prospect for the Dodgers. You also got a guy in Tristan Peters who's also had a really good year. You know, Tristan Peters played for the Savannah Bananas. He went from the Savannah Bananas to the Chicago White Sox. Like,
really?
That is yes. He did. You not know that? He's hitting 289 right now with 41 hits and 2 homers and 14 RBIs. Like,
I'm seeing it now. I did not know that.
There's so many good things to feel about the White Sox. But on the flip side, let's talk about the Tigers. I think it is time to lower them down, lower the casket down, and bury them for the season, unfortunately. Framber Valdez was not strong, 6 2/3, 4 earned, 4 strikeouts. Clearly, 4.39 ERA has not worked out for them. The Tigers went 6-21 in May. They started the month at 500, 16-16. Now they're 22-37. They're last in the month for WRC plus WAR and slug, 29th in average, 28th in OBP. The pitching has been in the middle of the pack. I know they do I don't know if you've heard the term about chaos pitching or panic pitching, I believe that it's called, in which they do the reliever mayhem where they throw the relievers out. But clearly, they're already about 11 and a half games, I believe. Yeah, 11 and a half games behind the guards. How do we move forward with this group? What do you do? Put yourself in the GM chair right now. It looks bleak for them. What do you do?
I mean, yeah, you got to trade Skubal at this point. And Skubal's kind of in a weird situation where he did the nano surgery, whatever, on his elbow, where it shortened his recovery time, which is great. Problem is, the team's out of it. I mean, they're in the bottom of the league. They are the worst team in the league, tied right now with Colorado, 7 back in the wild card. Like, it's over, man. They're done. And if you're Skubal, it's like, all right, I'm not going to rush my return at this point to go pitch for a team that's going nowhere. Like, obviously, you want to come back and help the team, but I don't know, maybe take it a little bit slower with the free agency pending. I think at this point, he's playing when he comes back. He's pitching for potential trade suitors, and he's pitching for his free agent market. He's not pitching to, carry the Tigers to a World Series. Like, unfortunately, that dream is out the window. It's not happening in Detroit for him. So obviously, you trade Skubal. It just has to happen at this point. That's option, or that's move number one.
What? And I have a point off that. I had this little, I was on the grill tonight, and I had this thought. With Skubal going to free agency, labor negotiation is going to be that there's going to be a cap and a floor. Do you think that with more than likely, I think we're going to see a cap next year? We agree? We both agree here?
We're either going to see a cap, or there might not be baseball next season. That's what it feels like right now.
Okay, so with the incoming cap, do you think that brings other teams, like, let's say a floor happens, do you think that brings other teams into the mix that we wouldn't think that would be viable contenders? For example, let's talk about these central block teams, like let's say a Cleveland or a Tampa, that, Tampa really doesn't have, like, yes, there's McClanahan as their ace, but Tampa, if they get Skubal, we know they're going to have to get up to that, what is it, $150, $170 million floor. They're going to have to spend that money somehow. Do you think that we see them introduced into this?
That's an interesting thought. It could not only open up the free agency, but it could also open up the trade rumors. And again, I'll beat the bush. A team like, or beat the horse. A team like the Milwaukee Brewers is if this cap and floor situation does happen and the Brewers are like forced to spend money to get up to the floor, it would make a lot of sense for them to make a move for Tarik Skubal. They have enough guys to make the trade this. And again, like the timeline doesn't necessarily line up with the negotiations and the trade deadline this year, but they have the prospect capital to go out and get Tarik Skubal and add him to a rotation with Jacob Misiorowski would be absolutely lights out. Something that I think, it does bring in teams like the Brewers, the Rays, the Guardians, those smaller market teams into the conversations with Tarik Skubal, 100%.
How about we send Skubal home?
Where's he, a California guy?
Yeah, Northern California guy. What if we send him home to the A's?
Well, we know the A's need pitching help. I don't know if he would be too excited about going out to the A's. I don't know if they have the prospect capital to make that trade happen. In free agency, maybe, but does he really want to play in a Little League park for a year?
Gauge jump. I mean, right now it's like I kind of feel like it's who's highest bidder.
Yeah,
he'll go to highest bidder, and I think right now I don't know if he's going to regret not taking the money. That's my thing, as we talked about earlier. Like with this coming, him regret not taking the money, because if they're going to bring up a floor and a cap, you're probably eliminating teams like the Yankees, the Dodgers, and the Mets that usually free spend, but they're probably going to have to get down to comply to the cap.
But the thing is, take money from who? Yeah. No one was giving him the money. The Tigers aren't going to spend. The Tigers were never going to give the contract out.
Yeah, but if you got traded to the Mets in the offseason, you don't think the Mets would have given him the 400 or the 350, something like that?
He would have had to force himself out.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying. But regardless, other than that, I know we beat the Skubal horse, every single week. I want to bring up, who are other guys that you would look at if you're a contending team off the Tigers?
I know the one that you want to keep bringing up is Dylan Dingler, but I don't think there's a chance in hell they trade him. He's got so many years of control, and he's one of the better catchers in the American League. I just don't think that's happening. But obviously, that's a name you would want, because he's kind of like him and McGonigal are your core moving forward. Young guys, at least. I don't know who else. There's not much on the roster that really excites me.
Javi Baez, Kenley Jansen.
Jansen's on the injured list.
Flaherty, one of the relief starters. I don't know.
Kind of a bummer that Verlander didn't get to play for a good Tigers team in what could be his last year. I know he's been injured, so.
But yeah,
Flaherty's free agent.
You don't see anybody that tickles your pickle. Pause.
Well, no, I mean that's the problem with a team that bad is they just have so many guys that are playing terrible baseball, especially in the lineup.
But I'm just saying, from pitching wise, their pitching's not that bad. A Will Vest to Kenley Jansen. I know Jansen's been up and down, hurt this year, but
yeah, maybe they'll trade some bullpen pieces.
Yeah.
Before we move on from the series, I do want to make a point on the Sox again. I think you can make the argument that the White Sox have the 2 best hitters and maybe even the 3 best hitters in the city, better than the Cubs. I'm going to talk. If you look at WRC plus leaders,
let me guess. Can I guess?
Mm-hmm.
Murakami, Montgomery, Vargas.
Yeah, so number 1 is Murakami at 157. Number 2 is Vargas at 138. Number 3 is Ian Happ with the 135 WRC plus, and then number 4 is Colson Montgomery with the 125 WRC plus. Like the White Sox they've been hitting, definitely in the month of May, they've been hitting the cover off the ball. They've been better than the Cubs offensively. A lot of teams have been better than the Cubs offensively. If you look at home runs too, like Murakami's leading the city with 20. Colson Montgomery has 14. And, since Colson Montgomery, I think Colson Montgomery is probably one of the more underrated players in the league at this point. Definitely like young players in the league. If you look at F4 leaders, since he got called up, he made his MLB debut on July 4th of last year. F4 leaders since July 4th, 2025, Colson Montgomery is 10th across all hitters in the whole league. And that's better than any Cub. The best Cubs player by F4 since July 4th of last year is Nico Horner. Colson Montgomery has 35 home runs since July 4th last year, which is 6th best in the whole league. I'm not saying the White Sox have a better future than the Cubs. I'm not saying that, but they have a lot of really good, young, exciting players that maybe are better than what the Cubs have in terms of youth, because the Cubs are a little bit older.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. ABS glitch, William?
Yeah, do you see that in the Yankee game the other day?
Last night?
Yeah, Tyler Soderstrom, fourth inning, Soderstrom, pitch was ruled a strike. And basically what happened was Soderstrom, the pitch was ruled a strike. Soderstrom challenges it. They go to the ABS and, they show it on the scoreboard out in center field or right field, whatever it is in Sacramento. And the ABS isn't loading.
Hey, West Sacramento. Yeah, you gotta get that right. It is West Sacramento. That is a key component. I learned that one last week. West Sacramento.
You're right, West Sacramento. And yeah, the ABS doesn't load. So then the umpire, I guess he gets a call down from the booth, and they say it was a strike. So it was confirmed a strike. But then when you go onto the MLB Game Day app or whatever, and you actually see the ABS result, it was a ball by less than an inch, but it was still a ball. And ABS glitched and they missed it. And my first thought was something like this cannot happen in the playoffs. Like, can you imagine ninth inning, close playoff game, and ABS just glitches, and you don't see if it's a ball or a strike, and someone from the powers that be calls down and says it's a strike or whatever, and they get the call wrong, and the playoff game is decided, or a key moment in a playoff game is decided based on an ABS glitch. I didn't know this was a possibility. Cannot happen in the playoffs.
Well, it's technology. It happens. I think the biggest thing is that only happens in a AAA ballpark without an upper deck and just a juiced up AutoZone park. That's how it happens. Let's talk about the series. Yankees won 2 out of 3 this weekend. They won today in a game that we don't even need to review. It was just the game was over after the fourth inning that they put 13 up. Third inning they put 13 up, and then Friday night they won 8-2. Saturday the A's won 6-4. But got to feel bad for Weathers on Saturday night. Again, he pitched really well. Booney made a head scratching decisions this weekend, in my opinion. Can't wait to hear what John Boy and Jake say on Talking Yanks tonight, and when they talk banter with Booney on Tuesday to see what went into the decisions that happened. I mean, Weathers gave up that big hit to Nick Kurtz, and he was well over 100 pitches. Kind of weird to keep him in the game at that point. Another decision that I texted you about was Friday night. The game was out of the balance. It was out of reach for the A's, and we decided to put Brett Hendrick, who is top 5 in relief appearances. And I've obviously seen Brett Hendrick struggle the past couple outings that I've watched him. Again, could be that he's just been overworked, overused. To me, there was no point in using him in a game that was more than 5 runs or more. This should have been Yarborough and Blackburn. Our victory flag, our victory cigar get put in for the end of the game. But Hedrick got him into a little bit of trouble, and then they had to call in Sharky, Fernando Cruz. They had to call him in. Thankfully, they only used him for a pitch. I completely disagreed with that. That decision-making on not using Blackburn at that point, which he came in later and wrapped up the game. But good series win from the Yankees. Tough night for Weathers. I mean, Weathers been very unlucky this year. I feel like he's been hurt by the offense not providing any run support when he goes out and pitches. Been one of those pitchers that's very unlucky. But good series. Unfortunately, that there was no sweep. We'll also say that Sacramento Park, after going to it, it is a very hard place to field with how the sun is in Sacramento. Again, no upper deck, and the sun in Sacramento does hit different. I can confirm it is a very hot place, and it is a very hard place to look up in the air. But other than that, I think, good series for the Yankees. Nick Kurtz is a demon. I know you're going to talk about him because he's on your fantasy team. A's just got to pay that man.
Yeah, the A's got to pay him. I don't have much on the series itself. I mean, the story of the series was probably the 13 runs in the third for the Yankees on Sunday. They sent 18 batters to the plate, had 11 hits, 4 walks, and scored 10 runs before, or they had 10 runs before they recorded a single out in the inning. It was the second highest scoring inning in franchise history. The only other one, or the highest, was 14 in 1920. All 9 starters came to bat in the inning twice. So that was, yeah, pretty much turn the game off at that point. And Will Warren, I know you don't like him for whatever reason, but he had a nice start.
I like Will Warren. My issue with Will Warren is that he always puts traffic on the base paths. I cannot relax. Like, there's always two guys on. There's always a guy in runner in scoring position or two guys on. He never lets me relax.
He started slow. It was not a good start. 3 in the first for the A's. You're like, oh boy. But he ended up 6 innings. Yes, true. Unearned. His ERA is because the Grisham drop pop up because of the sun, but his ERA is down to a 3.22 on the season, which is elite for a number 5 starter. So
okay, whatever. You can dress it up however you want to dress it up. I want to kick back and enjoy. I want to be able to go to my grill, put my steak on, and then when I come back to after the half inning, I can see, oh, awesome, clean scoreboard. I don't want to see the continuation of an inning. It takes me 5 minutes to grill my steaks, so it is what it is.
Not everybody can be Cam Schiller, and Will Warren has been solid for the Yankees this year.
What do you feel about Sacramento? I know you watched a lot more Sacramento this weekend. You got more because last year I remember the series was a weekday series, and that's kind of hard with you with work and everything. But after watching this weekend series, how do you feel about Sacramento as the ballpark and potential MLB spot in the future?
I don't like watching games in that stadium. I will say the fans showed up and showed out this weekend. A lot of them seemed to be Yankee fans, but it does seem like there was a baseball culture in that city, and they could hold an MLB team. We'll talk more about expansion and if it's even going to happen pretty shortly here. But yeah, fans showed up and showed out. I don't think the A's are they're not that good of a team. They don't have much in terms of arms. Love Nick Kurtz. I think he's a true star in the league. I think you have to put him as a top 10 hitter in the league at this point in his career, which is crazy. He's only been playing for basically like a full calendar year, but dude is elite. Around him, I don't know. Brent Rooker's had a disappointing season.
Yeah. Kurtz hit 2 bombs this weekend. I remember if you saw those 2 bombs last night and Monday night, hit 2 absolute missiles.
Yeah, he's got just natural power. I mean, hits the ball to the opposite field with ease, which is really impressive. So he's a lot of fun to watch for sure. And of course, he's on my fantasy team. So
I'm gonna ask you another question. Is it me or his bat is unusually thin, skinny?
I'll have to look closer. I don't know.
His barrel is super it seems like a paddle that he's hitting off of. Like I know the Yankees have the torpedoes, but his is almost like a flat paddle. I don't know. And it's kind of long. I don't know. I've kind of noticed that. He's kind of bought into the whole Amish thing with yeah. Is that what they call it?
Yeah, the big Amish. Yeah, he's doing that. He's churning the butter rounding the bases.
Yeah, the butter. I mean, look, the A's just look really they just look young, growing pains. A lot of miscues defensively, just growing pains.
Yeah. Lawrence Butler's had a disappointing season. Yeah. Let's move on. Let's talk about the Brewers. Jacob Misiorowski continuing his brilliance. Brewers win the series 2 games out of 3. They won 5-4 and 10 on Friday. The Astros picked up a win on Saturday 9-2 behind a home run, a 3-run blast by Christian Walker up to 16 on the season. He's been good. But the story of the weekend for the Brewers was, again, Jacob Misiorowski. Another elite start for Misiorowski to cap up what was an incredible month of May. 7 innings, 0 earned, 0 walks, 8 strikeouts on 88 pitches on Sunday. Picked up the win and lowered his ERA to 1.65 through his first 12 games. On Sunday, he had 39 pitches over 100 miles an hour on Sunday and allowed his first extra base hit since April 19th. That's right. He went 6 starts without allowing a single extra base hit. And he might have just finished the best month for a Brewers pitcher ever. 0.23 ERA in May over 38.1 innings pitched. He had 57 strikeouts to 6 walks. Franchise best ERA, batting average against, whip, and the most strikeouts ever by a pitcher in any month ever with 57 for Misiorowski. In terms of his statistics league-wide this season, 108 strikeouts is first. He's first in whip, first in batting average against, first in K per 9, and first in obviously strikeout percentage as well. He has 108 strikeouts to 19 walks on the season. He continues to be incredible. Again, I'll keep saying it. Every Jacob Misiorowski start, I think any fan should just tune in and watch. What this guy is doing is historic. 39 pitches over 100 miles an hour. He is by definition the hardest throwing pitcher of all time. And so if he went on Sunday, that means his next start is lined up to be, I got it right
Friday.
here. Yeah, he's
Friday,
lined up
right?
to pitch. Yeah, he's lined up to pitch Friday in Colorado, which could be an interesting start. Obviously, the Rockies stink, but it is Coors. So,
Wait, Friday in Colorado?
yeah. Are you going to be there?
No, he's not. No, they play the Pirates on Friday.
No. Friday, June 6th, Brewers, Colorado Rockies in Colorado.
I did not know that. I no way. I thought it was the Pirates.
No, it's Brewers.
Well, I will be at that start.
That's exciting.
Let's go. I thought they put the. Well, I'm at the fan guy. I might be the most annoying person at that stadium on Friday. Oh, well,
Enjoy. That'll be fun.
It's boots on the ground, pictures and everything will be uploaded live to the Locked In Sports Media account.
And I'll be at a game on Friday too, going to Cubs versus Giants. Yeah.
I did not know that Misiorowski's pitching on Friday. I thought they were.
You're so excited.
William, I legitimately thought that they were pitching the Pirates. It was the Pirates on Friday. I was going to Pirates Rockies. Unless my flight plans are completely wrong.
I hope not, because I'd rather see the Brewers. I'd definitely rather see Misiorowski than, unless it's Skeens, obviously, for the Pirates.
No. So I will be live and direct. I will be there for batting practice. I will be at the bullpen. Love it. Let's continue on. Let's talk some expansion, William. What do we got on expansion tonight?
Yeah, so Bob Nightingale had an interesting article in USA Today this weekend, basically talking about how some MLB owners and execs think expansion in Major League Baseball does not make sense financially. One exec said, quote, "Why would we want to subsidize 2 more small market teams? I don't understand it. The economics don't add up." An owner then said, quote, "Those teams certainly won't be paying money into revenue sharing, so it will be less money for everyone involved. What's the added benefit to get more fans engaged? I'm not sure expansion will drive fan engagement in either market." And then Nightingale cites teams like the Marlins and the Rays as kind of low attendance teams, and doesn't think that the 2 new teams would necessarily have a big fan base. And he also says in the article, so now with Manfred wanting every team to share their local TV revenue and new national TV contracts coming in 2029, that MLB estimates could be worth $250 million per team. Do owners really want to cut out 2 more slices of that pie and hand over money to the new teams? So I'm aligned with this thought process. I don't know why it makes sense economically. I don't know if it makes sense from like a fan base perspective, because, for example, if you add a team to Nashville, again, we've talked about it before, but people that live in Nashville, people that live in the South in general, are already very entrenched in their fan base, or their team. Like, they're either a Cardinals or a Braves fan, the overwhelming majority of people that live in the South. That's what, from my perspective, growing up in Memphis, Tennessee, like, people are either Braves fans or the Cardinals fans. If you add a new team to Nashville, I don't know, are those people that are already diehard fans for those teams going to go convert to the Nashville team? That's another thing. And then the third point, which I don't know why expansion maybe makes sense right now, is there enough talent for 2 full new teams? Like, we've already seen some of the really bad baseball that's been played in the major leagues over the past few seasons. I mean, the White Sox just lost 110 whatever games it was. They put up the worst 162 game record of all time. I don't think there's enough talent for 2 new teams. You're essentially going to be adding a starting 9 of, like, I know you would have some type of expansion draft, right? But a lot of those players that are in the minor leagues right now would be brought up to the major leagues and distributed across all of these different teams with the way the expansion draft would net out and stuff. I don't think there's enough talent. I don't think it makes a ton of sense economically, as these guys are mentioning here. And I don't think it maybe makes sense from like a fan base perspective. I don't know if fans are going to be totally bought in.
I agree to disagree. I agree that there might not be enough talent. I think we're already having issues fielding 30 good bullpens right now and 30 good pitching staffs. right now and hitters all around. But I just want new rivalries. I think the biggest negative of having some sort of expansion would be the possible realignment. I like the divisions right now as it is. I don't want the AL East messed with. I don't want the West. I don't want none of the divisions messed with. There's only a couple divisions that I would probably swap. I mean, the AL West would probably have to be rearranged because I don't think there's many rivalries in that one in comparison to an East or NL West. And that's my biggest takeaway from that. I would love new markets to be engaged, but again, you bring up the good point. Nashville, everybody is either Braves country or Cardinals country. If you put up a team in Sacramento, can Sacramento support a team by itself as a market? It's still a question right now because they're pretty much just they adopted the A's. It's like their foster child right now, and they're going to go on to a better home here in the future to Vegas. But so far, like that's just not good enough returns. Then you also, when you think about it, TV revenue wise, the Sacramento market competes with the San Francisco's, the San Jose's, the Oakland, the Bay Area, and I don't know how that works out. I think you would have to look and investigate into the Sacramento Kings to see how that works out. And then the other team that they talk about is Salt Lake City. I don't know. It doesn't really get me going. A team in Salt Lake or a team in Portland. I think the best place to put a team is in Charlotte, putting a team in Charlotte and putting a team in Montreal, bringing back the Expos. But I don't think we'd ever see another Canadian team just because of how the economics between the U.S. dollar and the Canadian dollar and the economies of two different countries. There's already an issue getting players up to Toronto to go play for the Blue Jays. How would that be quelled by adding another Montreal team?
Yeah, I don't know. But the way it ended in Montreal this century, 2005 was the first year that the Nationals were in Washington. I don't know if going back to Montreal makes sense. I know the Rays floated the idea of splitting their games between Montreal and Tampa a few years ago. I think that was like 2019 when that was reported. But I would love to see a team in Charlotte. That makes a lot of sense. I think the South could support two new teams. I know they want to do like a West Coast footprint, but the South is where there's a ton of baseball fans in the South. And right now they're underrepresented in terms of the teams that they have. Like it's Atlanta and St. Louis. Those are the two main ones.
But the biggest issue I want to say is that these people that are big fans of baseball in the South, it's like football. Like people are like, oh, they should put an NFL team in Alabama. That would never fly because it is Alabama football or Auburn football. And I feel like that's kind of like that fanaticism with college baseball too. Like Texas is huge in college baseball. Alabama, Auburn, Tennessee, Ole Miss.
College sports are definitely bigger there than in any part of the country. Certainly college football. Like Charlotte is, they have a beautiful stadium and they're probably still building a new one, but it's a major city. Nashville is a major city at this point. When those cities have grown so much over the last 20 years ago, they weren't MLB caliber cities. Now they are MLB caliber cities. And MLB hasn't expanded in like 20 years, 30 years almost. I don't know. I think it won't happen, but if they were looking to expand, it would make sense. I think Charlotte and Nashville. I don't know much about Salt Lake City, to be honest. And I don't know.
I had an hour in Salt Lake City and I was okay. I saw what I needed to see. No offense to Utah and anybody out there. I was good with an hour.
All righty. Well, let's keep it moving. Let's go around the horn, Luis, quickly around some of these series. Where do you want to start?
Toronto, Baltimore. I'll just run through this one. Series sweep. Blue Jays won 2-1 and 6-5. Orioles won 6-5 on Saturday and 9-5. Biggest takeaways. Jeff Hoffman imploded in the ninth. He blew a 5-1 lead on Saturday, which again, the Orioles blew a 5-0 lead on Friday. I was watching that game live. And then Jesus Sanchez had a fan interaction today where they threw a ball at his hand. William, any takeaways on this?
Yeah, Hoffman blew it again, so that's worth noting. And then the Jesus Sanchez thing was interesting. Never seen that before. The fan thought that Sanchez was wanting to play catch with him, and I guess he took his eyes off the ball. And yeah, he got drilled in the wrist, bruised right wrist. Sanchez said, quote, "It's just that there was a misunderstanding, a bad confusion. Where I raised my glove, they believed that I was looking for the ball, but it was never like that. So misunderstanding there. Hopefully he's okay, but he actually had to come out of the game in that situation. So never seen that happen before. But series split here. Not much else to talk about really outside of that.
Can we get credit to that guy who threw the ball to his hand? No offense. That is some crazy aim. Like, if he was actually aiming for his hand, that has to be like, bro, get that man on MLB mound. If he'll be able to dot up some strikes. That's one thing I will bring up. But
I don't know. Maybe he plays.
Feel bad for Jesus Sanchez. I don't know. Did I buy the J stock too early? No, I'm still holding it. I bought it early. I still believe in the Jays. So that's just my takeaways. Next series, Atlanta, Cincinnati. Braves won 2 out of 3, 8-3 on Friday, 5-2 on Saturday, and 6-4 today. Acuna had 4 homers this series, and he's homered 5 times in the last 4 games. I think this is good for Atlanta that Acuna is getting hot right now. William, any takeaways?
Braves first to 40 wins. Scary thought. You're right. If Acuna gets going back to like the MVP caliber pace that he's been at in years past, that they've been without Drake Baldwin, but another good series win, and the Rays salvaged it on Sunday. But the story here is Acuna.
Yeah, Acuna is scary hot. He has 7 home runs now, which is kind of crazy to think about that he only has 7 at this point in the season, and that we're like most of them were this weekend. But let's continue. William, Pirates sweep the Twins this weekend, 6-5, 10-9, and 9-3. Talked about earlier, Connor Griffin hitting the IL with a forearm injury today. We saw the walk-off with Ryan Reynolds on Friday. Did you see that weird press conference with Cameron? Cameron, I'm trying to get
Carmen Mlodzinski.
Yeah, Carmen. Yeah. Mlodzinski. Did you see that?
It was weird. Yeah, with Jared Jones coming back, I guess his spot in the rotation might be up in the air. And yeah, he was weird. He was like, talk to my agents kind of type vibe. And I don't know. He got placed on the restricted list, so not a good look for him.
Yeah, not the best look.
Good series win for the Pirates. Nice sweep, and they continue to hold serve in the loaded Central.
Yeah. Angels, Rays. Angels played tough, but again, they screwed it this weekend. Rays won 8-5 and 5-2 today. Jose Siri made a great play today, saving a grand slam. But Saturday, the Angels won 14-3. They put up 7 in the 9th. Question I want to ask you, William. Who's your player of the month for the Rays? Who's the guy that you put MVP votes for on this team, or you would be like, oh, he's been the guy that's been leading the charge?
It feels like Yandy. I know McClanahan's been great. I know Aranda's been great. Like, if you look at the numbers for the month of May, Aranda did hit 379. One of the worst fantasy drops I've had in recent memory. I'll raise my hand on that one. He had 3 home runs on the month, but Yandy had 7 home runs in May, hit 298 with a 166 WRC plus. Like, he was incredible too. So, I mean, the answer is like all 3 of those guys. If I had to pick one, it's really hard to say between Aranda and Yandy. Yandy is like just one of those true professional hitters. But I'll say Aranda. 379 batting average. I know batting average isn't the be all end all. That's still really, really impressive.
Rays are 17-8 in May. They're 20-6 at the Trop, making that a fortress. 10-11 in interleague play. You know that they're also 9-1 in 1-run games.
Which someone would see that and say, all right, they're due for some regression. But maybe it's just like a season where they just win all their 1-run games.
Yeah. Boston Sox game. Guardians win 4-3 on Friday, but the Sox took the Saturday game and the Sunday game 9-4. They racked up 12 hits to win the series. Sox broke it late today. It was a really tight game until the Sox broke it. Biggest news out of this series is that Stephen Kwan is on the bereavement list. He has something personal going on. Talked about it a little bit. Could explain the early struggles. T's and P's, thoughts and prayers for Stephen Kwan, whatever his family is going through right now. So,
absolutely, sending our best wishes to Stephen Kwan and his family. Hope everything is okay, and obviously that takes priority over baseball. So, Red Sox win another series, so that's good for them. Important, but still feels like they're lagging behind. And Crochet had a setback in the rehab too.
Yeah, Oh, and then we talked Ellie De La Cruz too on the getting imaging on the hamstring strain. That's another big one for the Reds. Missed that one. Marlins, Mets, don't want to talk about the series. Mets sweep 3-game set. Talked about the walk-off. Juan Soto, grand slam today. Cool. 159 WRC plus in May, 1 WAR, 587 slug. Shout out to Carson Bench, 308, 374 OBP in May. Carson Bench been a nice player in the month of May, but we'll move on. Next series. Royals, Rangers. Rangers did the sweep, 9-1, 7-6, 6-3. Ursig blew his 5th save on Saturday. William, Royals have now lost 6 in a row. The bullpen has been terrible, 28th in WAR, 27th in ERA. They're 10.5 back from the Guardians. I ask you the question: Is there anybody? If I'm the Dodgers, Yankees, Cubs, Phillies, any Brewers? Is there anybody that I'm looking at the Royals team and licking my lips for? Are we lowering them into the ground, the coffin into the ground for the Royals?
Yeah, I do think we are lowering the Royals down. I think it's over. They're right there next to the Tigers in the Central. In terms of players I want, I don't know. I mean, Urseg keeps blowing games. Estevez has been injured. And obviously they're not trading like Bobby Witt. Or Seth Lugo's got 2 more years of control after this. It's a really good arm, 36 years old. Maybe they want to get off the money. He's at $21 million a year. Michael Wacha, I think, will probably get traded. He had a really good start against the Yankees. That's a name I would have circled. But
you are Michael Wacha. You are a San Diego Padre. Seth Lugo, you are not Seth Lugo, but Michael Wacha. You are a San Diego Padre.
100% could definitely see that.
That is a San Diego Padre arm if I've ever seen one. Like deadline, AJ Preller, trade. Like
100%.
Yes, please. I think the biggest thing also, Michael Garcia is awaiting imaging results for his hamstring. So
yeah, that's not good. The Rangers got really good starts from Gore, Rocker, and Leiter in this series. So they got some good arms. I just don't know about the bats over there in Texas. But this was obviously a great sweep for them.
Giants, Rockies. Rockies won 2 out of 3, 8-6 on Friday, 8-3 Saturday, and today the Giants just went B-A, 19-6. William, what's going on with the Giants? 9th in payroll at 197th per Sport Track, 9-18 in the month of May. Bottom half of the league of pitching with the league average hitting, and Logan Webb's been struggling this year. How do we feel about this Giants team?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we do a deep dive into another episode because we're already an hour and a half in, but the Vitello experience hasn't worked. They had a really good game on Sunday, racking up 25 hits. Logan Webb's been struggling, like you said. I don't know how to feel about their farm system. They got some depth, but they don't have like a ton of pieces. They have some bad contracts on the book. So I think we can push the Giants deep dive to another day. But yeah, they almost got swept by the Rockies. I don't know. And they're out of it at this point in the season. They're out of it. I don't know what the vision is for that franchise. I don't know.
Arizona played the Mariners this weekend. Mariners got the sweep, 3-game sweep. They've now won 6 straight. They won in 10 today, 3-2 in 10. We'll talk about the Luis Castillo, Bryce Miller next episode. It's kind of weird. Both of them pitched 5 innings today. A very interesting way how they're using them. I know there's a couple of sound bites we got to talk about. William, any takeaways?
I mean, I know it sounds crazy, but the West might be done. Seattle might have this thing wrapped up. I just don't feel good about any of the other teams in that division. Seattle, they've won 6 straight. I actually have some stats on J-Rod, who, as we know, like J-Rod has historically been known as a second half guy. I think if you look at his first half numbers versus the second half, he has a 116 WRC plus in the first half, 154 in the second half on his career. The slash line, much better in the second half. OPS of 902 in the second half versus 746 in the first half. And this season, he's maybe putting together the best first half of his career, certainly since his rookie season in 2022 when he won the Rookie of the Year and finished 7th in MVP voting. That season also won a Silver Slugger. On the first half, very quietly through Saturday's games, J-Rod is sitting 269, slugging 326, with a 326 OBP and a 476 slug, has an 801 OPS, which isn't amazing, but it's better than his career numbers. And he has 12 homers with a 129 WRC plus. For example, for comparison, last year, He was hitting 252 with a 730 OPS in the first half with 14 homers. And then in 2024, he had a 690 OPS, 10 home runs, and a 267 batting average in the first half. So he's better in the first half this year than he has been in years past. The weird thing about J-Rod is the defensive numbers, the metrics have fallen off a cliff, and he's really struggling defensively this year. But at least the bat, while it hasn't been like incredible by any stretch of the imagination, it's been better in the first half compared to his career numbers. So if he is like second half J-Rod in the second half, this could be one of the better J-Rod seasons we've seen. And that's good. That means, that's exciting for a Seattle fan because Raleigh's been injured, haven't really been hitting, all that stuff.
Yeah. Dodgers, Phillies. Dodgers win 2 out of 3. 42 Friday. Robleski pitched 7 strong, 9 strikeouts. Been one of the bright spots for them this year. Phillies won 4-3. And Munoz Sosa had a 2-run jack off of Tanner Scott, blowing it, giving 3 earned in the 8th. And the Dodgers won today 9-1. Yamamoto went 5 1/3, 10 strikeouts. Again, Dodgers proving themselves to be the class of the NL, in my opinion.
Yeah, not much from that series. Wheeler gave up 4 homers on Friday, which was, I think, tying a career high. I still feel like the first 2 games of this series felt like playoff games with Wheeler and Luzardo going for Philly. It was Andrew Painter on Sunday, who I don't think will really factor into their playoff rotation that much. Maybe he will, but I think the Phillies can hang with the Dodgers, just not this weekend. They had a nice series win. LA, they continue to play great baseball.
Yeah, great baseball. And William, we've gotten to the end of the episode. What's going on in the tourney? What's going on with the NCAA tourney?
Yeah, we got to talk about it, man. I mean, I think the NCAA tournament, the NCAA baseball tournament is maybe one of the more underrated, slept on sporting events in American sports. I mean, it's the opening weekend, the regional weekend is one of the most exciting sports weekends on the sports calendar, in my opinion. I look forward to it every single year. And you look at what we've seen this year, we had 25 and 31. So far, we're recording this on Sunday, 25 and 31 Milwaukee. They go in regional opener. They beat the number 4 overall seed Auburn, and they make it to a regional final. You have UCLA, the number 1 overall seed. They're out. This is the second straight year that we've had the number 1 overall seed not even make it to a regional final. Last year was Vanderbilt. Like the electricity, the excitement, like you compare it to March Madness. Everyone loves March Madness. I love it too. But baseball is a sport that is more conducive for these crazy upsets. Like the number 1 overall seed losing before a regional final in 2 straight seasons is basically the equivalent of a number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament losing to the 16 seed 2 straight seasons, or 2 1 seeds losing to 16 seeds in one tournament. It's, we've had Kentucky just gave up like 5 runs in the 9th inning to potentially lose to West Virginia. We had Southern Miss, the number 9 overall seed. They're out of it. Texas hold serve. Nebraska, number 13 overall seed, they're out of it. Auburn's fighting for dear life. The biggest story, though, is Milwaukee. If Milwaukee can make it to a super regional, it would be one of the best stories in college baseball recent history. I think this tournament is so much fun to watch. There's games on all weekend, jam-packed. And, it's only the opening weekend. We got the Supers next weekend and then the College World Series. It just feels like college baseball is an underrated sport. I don't want to say like a sleeping giant, but people got to give it some more respect. It's really a lot of fun to watch. I can't believe UCLA is out. Rock Chalowski, projected number 1 overall pick, his college career is over.
Yeah. Who do you like on the team? Who do you like this year? Like teams wise?
I think Texas, while their region wasn't super strong, they looked really good. I mean, they scored 19 runs in the opener, 16 runs in the second game of the regional. They're beating UC Santa Barbara right now, looking like they're going to advance to a super regional. I feel really good about them. We have, teams like Georgia Tech with Von Lackey. They're actually losing to Oklahoma right now in the region final. They would have to lose twice, though. Mississippi State's look good. Georgia, number 3 overall seed. That's a team to watch. Ole Miss knocked out Nebraska. Ole Miss got a recent national championship on their books. That's a team to watch. So there's, it's really hard to predict because it's only, double elimination baseball. Anything can happen. The variance is, just it's hard to predict. But But I don't know if I had to pick a team right now. I feel like Texas might be winning this thing.
I like Cal Poly. Let's go Mustangs
To beat St. Mary's. I mean,
yeah, I like it. I like them. No, I mean, again, there's a lot to look at. I mean, I know the SEC teams are just something else. It just means more at the end of the day.
the SEC. Yeah, I mean, look, you look at UCLA. They're in the Big Ten. They lost like 6 games all season, something like that. But they were playing in the Big Ten, which is not. I mean, it's not a good baseball conference. It's hard to be good when you're half the teams are playing in the freezing cold the whole time. But
Farmers League?
UCLA. It is kind of like Ligue 1, like the French league, PSG. They go down. They don't even make the region final, man. It's crazy. There's so much talent on this team this year. They beat SEC teams in the non-conference slate, but they're out of it already. It's bonkers.
A lot of variance, my guy. A lot of variance. But that wraps it up for us this week. We'll be back midweek, hopefully. If not, we'll be back next weekend with the Colorado recap. Again, thank you for tuning in to the Locked In Baseball podcast. Again, from my dear friend William Locke and Luis Barranco. Make sure you follow us on X/Twitter. Make sure you give us a subscribe on YouTube. Trying to get to 500 before the end of the year. Follow us on Instagram as well and on TikTok. Again, from my dear friend William Locke. Hopefully you guys are doing well and happy June.
Thanks for closing it out. Until next time, guys. Peace out.